Okay, so welcome to Friday the 12th of February, and today we're looking at can I write a setting description? So we're going to put together all of the stuff we've been looking at this week, put it together, and have a really good setting description based on that video on Monday. Below is a picture of a still from the video, so you can use this picture if you want to come back in this slideshow and just look at something that's still to get some really good ideas for your description. That's great. I've got another picture on the next page here, so you can come back and use that one if you'd like. This is going into the central bit. And there's another picture that's still from the video going up the path. Interestingly enough, this is based on a real place. It's called Whitby Abbey, and it's based on a real place. But I didn't realize how close to the video it actually looks. This is actually what it looks like. And you can see like there, the actual path going up and there's sort of water here and this sort of ruined church bit or ruined abbey. You know, this looks really similar to the video. I didn't realize how close it was. So feel free to use any of those pictures today for ideas. So your task today is to write a setting description based on the video from Monday. So what you can use to help you is obviously the video from Monday. You can play that as many times as you like. You've got the pictures from this video. You've got the notes you took on Monday. You've got the strong verb sentences you wrote on Tuesday, the paragraph you wrote using all your sentences on Wednesday, and those new vocabulary sentences using those new words that you came up with yesterday. So you've got all of those things to help you. I'm going to do an example too. You've got all of those things that you can use. This is what we're trying to include. So we're going to try and include some new words. We're trying to include some powerful verbs, and we're going to use all of our senses. So not just what we can see, but what we can hear, what we can sort of feel, what we maybe even taste or smell. So let's have a go. So I would start with the weather's awful that night. So I just put it here so you can see. So the weather was awful that night. I would use that starting line, especially if you're not knowing how to start. It's a great way to start because it brings you straight on to describing the weather, to describe like the wind and the rain. If you want to add rain in, I know it doesn't happen on the video, but it brings you straight into that. So that's what I'm going to start with, and you can steal that first line. So as I said, I want to talk about the rain and things like that. So the weather was awful that night. The rain, what can I say about the rain? The rain invaded, I'm going to put invaded the land from the rain invaded the land from the stormy sea. Let's have that. The rain invaded the land from the stormy sea. And let's have the wind and the how can I describe the wind? The violent wind. The rain invaded the land from the stormy sea, and the violent wind. I don't want to say rushed over the land or something about the land because I've already said that. Let's have its effect on the trees, and the violent wind bent the trees low against the. I don't want to say grass because grass sounds like it's quite a nice place. I want it to sound worse. So against the mud, maybe like that. So the weather was awful that night. The rain invaded the land from the stormy sea, and the violent wind bent the trees low against the mud. Let's talk about the pathway. How shall I describe the pathway? Let's not just have a pathway. Let's have it being narrow. Let's have that. The narrow pathway. What about if we had that pathway go in like really close to the edge of the cliffs, like it's dangerous on the edge of a cliff. So the narrow pathway curved around the steep cliffs. The narrow pathway curved around the steep cliffs, comma, a huge drop on either side down to something. What we have down to the rocks below, down to the sharp rocks below, down to the dangerous rocks below, down to the dark rocks below. I haven't used dark yet, have I? Let's have dark. Down to the dark rocks below. And have it. Full stop. It was lit. So I want this path lit. It was lit only by a faint sliver of moon Now it's stormy and rainy, so my reader might think, hang on a minute, I thought it's stormy, there's lots of clouds, how can you see the moon? So I'm gonna have to mention that, otherwise it'll be confusing. It was lit only by a faint sliver of moon, which peeked out from between the sinister, let's use one of those words from yesterday, the sinister clouds, make it feel like something bad's going to happen. So I've got that. Now I'm thinking, let's use some of my different senses. Let's use what I can hear. So high above, I'll have some sort of bird. So high above, a crow shrieked into the wind. High above, a crow shrieked into the wind. Shrieked into the wind. And let's do a shiver ran down my spine. Let's have something about how I'm feeling as well. Then let's have me moving on. So I'm going to walk on. So as I moved up the path, the fog, the gathering fog, because otherwise I haven't mentioned the fog yet. And if I don't, the reader's going to think, well, where's it come from? So I can say the gathering fog. As I moved up the path, the gathering fog swirled around me. High above, a crow shrieked into the wind and a shiver ran down my spine. As I moved up the path, the gathering fog swirled around me, and a deep sense of foreboding, I want to use that word as well, and a deep sense of foreboding came over me. Full stop. I'm going to put, but I had to continue. Full stop. I don't know why I had to continue, but I can drop that in and it makes the reader think, oh, why has he got to continue up this path? Why has he got to keep going? Like, and it kind of makes that reader want to read on to find out. I don't have an answer for it. I have to keep going, but it's good to maybe drop that in. But I had to continue. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, I want to put what I can smell. All of a sudden, or taste, with the bitter taste of wood smoke in the back of my throat. All of a sudden, with a bitter taste of wood smoke in the back of my throat, the ruins of the abbey loomed. That's the other word from the other day. Ruins of the abbey loomed large ahead of me through the fog. We said fog, the gathering fog, through the mist. Full stop. And then I would go on and describe the abbey, and I'm moving on through it. So that's where I'm going to stop, but you can sort of carry on. Again, it's not going to be massively long, maybe sort of 12 lines, something like that would cover it. But obviously, you can do more if you like. I've included lots of my senses. So I've said how I was feeling, what I could hear, what I could taste, what I can see. And I've also got a lot of those new words as well, which I've put in there. And what was my other thing I needed to do? Powerful verbs. Yeah, so I've got the gathering fog swirled and a crow shrieked. So I think that kind of works. I'll just read it for you to check. The weather was awful that night. The rain invaded the land from a stormy sea, and the violent wind bent the trees low against the mud. The narrow pathway curved around the steep cliffs, a huge drop on either side down to the dark rocks below. It was lit only by a faint sliver of moon, which peeked out from between the sinister clouds. High above, a crow shrieked into the wind and a shiver ran down my spine. As I moved up the path, the gathering fog swirled around me, and a deep sense of foreboding came over me. But I had to continue. All of a sudden, with a bitter taste of wood smoke in the back of my throat, the ruins of the abbey loomed large ahead of me through the mist. The only thing I'm not sure about is this. I'm not really happy with the clouds being sinister. So I'm going to do that. I might come back and change that later because I'm not 100% happy with that word. I think there might be a better word between the ominous, the menacing clouds. Let's change that. I like that. That's better. Yeah. So reading it through, I spotted that. That's why it's good to read it through. Cool. So I look forward to seeing your examples. Remember all the things you can use. Look back through his PowerPoint. I look forward to seeing your examples on Dojo.